Hot stove conversations about baseball, history, football, and current events that may leave you saying there's more to consider. Now, here's your host, Jack Moore.
Welcome to More to Consider. I'm here with my friend Charles. Something happened to me this week. Hey, Charles, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man.
All right, something came up that Charles and I discussed before we decided to do this show. This is one of those things that I think probably is going to hit an emotion or two with the listeners because I think it's happened to some people already. It's kind of a phenomenon that is occurring. I think it's happening throughout the country. And given my legal background, I'll say up front that you get people, and when you're a lawyer, everybody has a question. You know, and usually the good one is, hey, if I shoot somebody coming in my house, do they have to fall the other side of the window? Can they fall? I mean, I've always heard that one.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as anybody knows you're a lawyer, they want to know whether you can shoot and kill somebody intruding your house. Do they have to fall outside or they have to fall inside? You know, they have to be inside. You better. I'm like, no, believe me. That's really going to be determined by how popular you are with the people in the community. Because if 12 people like you enough, you'll probably get away with it. But that's another whole issue. So here's a big key thing going on right now. This is where we're going to go. And Charles is going to ask me questions that he thinks about, like, what are the ramifications of this? I have a friend and they get a ticket, if you want to call it. It's a summons. It's a summons. It's the wording is citation and summons. And they're driving in a particular jurisdiction in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and they're on an interstate highway. That interstate highway is a posted 70 mile per hour speed limit. But there is construction going on this portion of the interstate, and they have put up a photo enforced speed limit of 60. Okay.
You mean a money vacuum?
All right, you're calling it a money vacuum, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So I think that, you know, and this is how my mind works. There's kind of two tracks here. There is the money aspect, and one could say, but I do have to give some ground to the jurisdiction, or if you want to call it government in general, local, federal, whatever, that it is conceivable that if people are working around a portion of the interstate that you have deemed to be safe travel at 70, you could understand that people that are working near the highway, somebody could say theoretically, scientifically, through study, that it's far more dangerous to the workers to be continuing to pass at 70. We want you to bring it down to 60. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with them. Trust me, I get that whole point of wanting to slow down around people who are on the side of the interstate. It just makes sense, but there's a but here.
Yeah.
That but is then have more cops out there, honestly.
Okay.
I just think that it's better to have troopers out on the road than hiding behind bushes. That's just me. And having a camera out there just looks like you're hiding behind a bush.
Well, since this happened to my friend and they informed me, what can you do to help me get through this process? I started really paying more attention. I see it all the time, and they're very, very, very well posted. It's like, hey, you're entering a speed camera area. It's not a mystery. They're letting you know, and there's usually blinking lights and the like. Okay. Now, here are the issues, though, as to they're calling this a civil penalty. They're telling you on the back, they gave me the form, the friend's like, hey, look this over, tell me, you know. I said, okay, let me see what I can do for you. And I kind of did a little online looking around. And again, they're going to argue the state, federal government, it's the state. It happened within a jurisdiction in Virginia, but the whole rationale is going to be, hey, slow down, there's construction. All right. Now, on this issue that you just brought up, then put more cops out there. All right. In my hometown, small town, I kind of noticed something when I came home one time. I came around a curve, which is kind of one of these 25 miles an hour in the town, and it's kind of a blind curve. And I came around, boom, there was a car there. It was definitely a law enforcement car, like a patrol car.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time I came up, it was right there. It was right there. Then I realized there's no one in it. So I was talking to a friend of mine in law enforcement. I said, hey, I noticed you get, yeah. We spent, fill in the blank, $28,500, whatever, for a Ford Fairlane, whatever, and stick it on the side of the road. We don't have to pay it overtime. We don't have to pay it benefits. And we have found, and they had been monitoring with equipment, speeds have dropped dramatically because
Yeah.
people keep entering town. They see that car. So the mindset of that was, we don't have to pay a cop to be in the car and patrol. Just park the car there and make people think there's a cop. Now, eventually, people start to, there's no cop there. Okay, whatever. They start, then you run one out every once in a while. So I think in the same sort of mindset, they're putting this photo thing out there because that's just more, they really can't put but so many police officers just basically to monitor the area where they've asked you to slow down. It's just easier to put a camera and make money. Talk to me. Go. I see
Yeah,
your
it may
face.
be easier, but honestly, I don't really care what's easier for the state, especially when it comes to extracting money from people. I don't really care. Put the cops out there. That's why we pay taxes.
Okay, but if I'm being fair to the argument here, you're saying don't save money by not paying cops overtime, extras, and all the rest. Pay all the cops you want, pay all the benefits, and still stop people and give them tickets. I just rather you take on added expense of put more cops on the street or in these areas rather than put up a camera system that's going to
Yeah.
cost a lot less. Okay,
Yeah,
I
actually,
get
yeah.
it.
Because I look at the camera as just extortion, honestly. You're gonna say we're gonna send you a ticket in the mail. Oh, it's not a criminal issue, or it's not gonna go on your license. We just want your money. That's just more of a slap in the
No,
face, honestly.
that is true. That
Yeah,
is
just
true. That's clearly what it's saying is we just want your money.
yeah.
Now,
So say look at it this way: we're gonna put a camera out there instead of a cop. Say, for instance, something actually happens on the interstate. An
well,
emergency of some
Charles,
sort. Hold on.
okay,
Something happens on the interstate. What are they going to do? Send a camera out there? No, they can't.
okay,
Have the cop out there.
okay.
Have the cop.
All right. I think the argument would go, we're not saying there won't be any more patrol. We're not saying there won't be any officers or troopers working the highways. We're not saying that. And we're not saying that there's this major catastrophe or there's injuries or whatever. They're going to send a camera over to administer aid. And no, they're not saying that. But what they're saying is, instead of increasing the volume of patrol in an area just to try to ensure safety, they're trying to use a deterrent. And I mean, let's face it, my friend's like, hey, it's a deterrent now. Like, I'm really paying attention when I go into construction areas. So maybe to some degree, it's actually benefited all of humanity at some level, because it's kind of like, son of a bitch, I just got this thing in the mail for doing 71 and a 60 where the posted speed limit is 70. It's 70 there. It's just that it's 60 while the construction's going on. They're not really paying attention, whatever. It's one of those moments like they feel like they're kind of going with the flow of the traffic. And we don't know this either. There might have been 6 cars in a row that got the same ticket.
It's possible.
Well, yeah. And in reality, how many cars have you ever seen a trooper pull over?
I've seen a trooper pull over as many as 3 at one time.
Yeah, I have too. I was going to say, I have seen multiple cars. I've seen them kind of, wave like, no, you yeah. Generally. But here's the thing. It might be the beauty of the camera. Let's say 7 consecutive cars went through that beam at 70 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Picture, $100, $100. Yeah. And you don't have to pull over anybody. It just keep taking pictures. So, go ahead.
So they just extorted all kinds of cash. I have it because I'm on the road a lot, and I see stuff like this out. I see stuff like this on the interstates quite a bit. But really, what is it that causes the problems on the interstate? It's not speeding. I can tell you that. It's not. If anything, it's people going slow.
People driving slow. Yeah. We talked about that. I made a long trip from North Carolina the other day coaching, and it was like 4 times on the interstate. It was like, what am I going to do? I'm trying to think about getting over, because some son of a bitch is in the extreme left lane doing 57 miles an hour. And all these people are making dangerous movements to get around the guy in the extreme left. And I'm not, I say 57. Let's say it was posted 70 and they were like literally doing like 61.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you here? Yeah.
So those of us who are on the roads a lot, we're throwing our hands up like, where's the cops? Oh, you're not worried about that part. The thing that actually causes all the traffic jams and a good portion of the accidents because people are trying to get around these people. Oh, no, there's a camera up there that's doing nothing but extracting cash. That's why I want more cops on the roads and not cameras. Okay. Because it's not just the people that are going fast, it's the people that are going slow that are causing these problems.
Okay.
But they don't care about that.
All right.
They don't.
The other thing about this particular situation that I want to address and stir up some anger, hopefully in the audience, and please, people, leave comments about, because somebody's probably been burned by this. All right. Again, I can't help myself. I'm an attorney, and I do think in terms of, could I defend this person? And the biggest egregious aspect of the way this goes down is the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment says you have a constitutional right, again, with the at the time of the ratification of the Sixth Amendment, it only applied to federal court and federal crimes. And then with the incorporation doctrine, it applies to the state. So it does. So there's different parts. Speedy trial is part of the Sixth Amendment. Compulsory service, you can subpoena anybody you want to, if you think there's a witness out there that can help your cause. But the big one about the Sixth Amendment that comes into play all the time in criminal matters is the Confrontation Clause. You get to confront whoever accuses you. So just mechanically, what do we have here? We have a camera took a picture, and it takes it from several angles. But what's got to be the money shot? Let's call it that. What's got to be the money shot?
From the front.
Yep, the one that shows it's you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe the light hits just right and there's a big blur across of it. And you don't know that because my friend that got the letter, my friend gets this letter in the mail, summons in the mail, says, hey, you're on candid camera, and shows the back of the car and a license plate. And I'm like, okay, let me read the fine print. And it says, hey, you can go online and see more pictures. Then I started thinking like, there's one argument, you just don't do anything. And then if they come after you in some way, you're like, what letter? I've certainly had enough letters missed. I've gotten my neighbor's mail, and we were talking about this the other day. I have a mail carrier that tends to put my stuff in other boxes all the time because I'm looking for stuff. I'm like, where is it? Then the postmaster has to come into play and go, well, she has a problem with putting stuff in the wrong box. Hey, you're in the post office business. You ought to be putting it in the right box. Okay, so there is a plot, but that's the other thing too. When you're the defendant, you don't have any duty to prove anything. So if they come back and say, hey, you never paid that ticket. What ticket? Oh, you got it in the mail. I did. I don't know. You tell me.
Right.
So there's no personal service. There's no service of process like a deputy sheriff or process server who's paid to come out and hand it to you or post it on your door. It's not that kind of service. It's just a letter. It's not a certified letter. You don't have to sign for it. You didn't sign for it. So the person just finds it in the mail. So how does the jurisdiction have any idea whether they even got it? So that's an argument. So they give you this thing on the back. Hey, if you want to go snoop around and see the incriminating picture against you, go to this site. Put in this number for citation. Put in this for PIN. So I told my friend, I said, look, if you want to go snoop, I don't know that they won't try to argue. Well, that's evidence you were aware of it because you went in there playing around. Now, I went ahead and went in there for them. I went in there. Guess what? I put in the citation and the rest. It comes back wrong. And I told him, I said, you got a problem here. You're going to need to call them. If you want to go forward, they're like, it's no points against my license. It doesn't affect my insurance. Screw it. I'm just ready to pay the damn thing. Like, okay. So you're going to have to make a phone call. Phone call. Finds out, oh, I'm sorry, you have the wrong PIN. So then they give them the right PIN. Then they try to put in the right PIN while talking to the person that represents these people in 16 states away, right? That's what's interesting too. The people that do the collection on this are collecting for like 15 states that are in on this, all doing right. So they call this clearinghouse, get this person in God knows what state. And they're like, oh, try this PIN. Oh, that didn't work either. Oh, then you've probably timed out for too many times you tried to get in and got denied. So when do I ever get to see these pictures? So they paid it and they said, well, wait 48 hours and you might be able to see the pictures. I say all that to say this. I don't know that that's not a scam too. Think about it. They may be trying to get you to go on there to search. So they have some evidence about it. Right. And then, oopsie, you can't actually see that picture that you need to see. Oopsie, couldn't see it. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong PIN. That PIN doesn't work either. Too bad for you. Well, now you're on the phone with them. So what are you absolutely giving evidence of that you know about it?
Right.
If it's you, go ahead.
Do you remember years ago where San Diego put up those red light cameras? And then so many people complained. Well, I shouldn't say complain. What they did was they would go to court and say, well, I would like to, at least talk to my accuser.
Right. That's right. That's the Sixth Amendment. Yeah, that's it.
And we don't have an accuser. All right. Well, it's dismissed. But then come to find out what these cities were doing was they were shortening the length of the yellow lights.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's a scandal.
But yeah, it was a huge scandal for the fact that the people
Wow.
that were programming the lights were the same people that were
Yeah.
programming the cameras. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
It was amazing. And that's why so many cities got rid of those cameras because of there was so much room for fraud because the city just
Yeah.
wanted your money. That's all they wanted. I find these speed cameras pretty much the same. I was in Italy some years ago, and I love driving to Italy. Actually, my favorite place to drive, especially on their toll roads, because you'll see a sign that will say, well, it wouldn't say this. You could tell because of the little symbols and cameras that a speed zone was coming up in 1,000 meters or a kilometer. And it'll say the speed zone in 500 kilometers or 500 um, let's say almost 1,000 meters. And it would say speed zone in 500 meters, speed
Right.
zone in 100 meters, and then you cross into the speed zone, and there's like hash marks and everything. And you travel in the speed zone for about 500 to 1,000 meters, and then it says you have left the speed zone, and you just speed back up. And that was it. So
Now
you have
on
to
their
be a
right
real
side.
dummy. Their
Oh,
right
their
side,
right.
yes.
Their
Yeah.
right side. Okay.
Yeah. You have to be a real dummy to get a ticket on the interstate or toll road in
Yeah.
Italy for the fact that that they're going to let you know exactly when you're in a speed zone. But
Yeah. They're
even they
looking for you.
realize that the whole purpose of these speed limits is just kind of dumb. They just are.
Mhm.
People will drive generally as fast as they're comfortable driving, and that's it. Out in Texas, there's I think there's an 80-mile-an-hour zone out in Texas between Houston and San Antonio, Austin, San Antonio, something like that on Interstate
It
10.
should be.
And generally, they say people drive around 85, and that's it. They won't go any
Yeah.
faster.
No.
So, are these speed limits really effective in areas? And I'm on the interstates a lot. I can tell you, they're not. They're just not. So, unless they're going to actually handle or tackle the issues that really cause the vast majority of the issues on the interstate, which are people who are not paying attention. That's the number one issue.
Oh,
People are not
sure.
paying attention. The car and driver had done these studies years ago, and it was found that the people who speed are the ones who get into the least amount of accidents. And the reason being is their heads are on a swivel looking for cops, so they don't get a ticket. The
Yeah.
people who are
That makes
are the
sense.
ones that get in the most accidents are the ones who are like, oh, I'm doing the speed limit, I'm really complacent. Next thing you know, smash, because they weren't paying attention. They weren't looking ahead. They weren't looking around. They weren't paying attention to their surroundings. Right. So yeah, again, the whole speed camera thing, just my personal opinion, it is a money grab. Yeah.
Well, I do think that, well, it's like anything else. Is it arbitrary to pick 18th as the age of majority? And whether kids can drink at 21 or 18, they're all kind of arbitrary lines. They're 55 miles per hour, 60 or 80, whatever. They're all kind of arbitrary. I do think you could study, and I'm sure they have, where people are. But I've always thought this. Um, I don't want to, in any way, shape, or form. Well, I'm going to knock on wood here. At my age and how long I've been driving, I've never even bumped anybody in a parking lot. And I think I've always been hugely afraid of a motor vehicle. But what I'll tell you too, when I was growing up, I discovered in testing one time on an Army base where I was working, I had 20/10 eyesight. And also they did you've probably been in this where you had the green light, red light, and you hit the brake.
Yes.
My reaction time was really, really good. Now, my dad he actually set the record in state police school when he did it. So the average reaction time is 0.75. Mine was usually around 0.3 to 0.35. The average person is 0.75. Where I'm going with this is I think innately as a sense of survival, we kind of drive based on what we can do. You know
Right.
what I mean? And a lot of those times when you find that person in the left lane that we talked about that causes the problems, then when you go by them, it's somebody behind the wheel here, and you don't want to stereotype the elderly or something, but it's somebody that you're looking at going, I don't see them driving the Indianapolis 500. You don't feel that vibe. How the hell they ended over in the left lane's anyone's guess. But I do think there's a tendency that people will drive, and this is kind of based on what you said about you get a wide open place, it's kind of unlimited speed limit. They're only going to do so much anyway. I did with a friend of mine, the Phoenix to Tucson drive one time. You ever done that?
Yes.
It's right out of the movies. It's just tumbleweeds and just flat,
There's
right?
nothing out there. Yeah.
And it's kind of that same thing. And you notice that people will pump around 85 or so, and they're not going to do 160. They're just not.
Right. That's
now,
right.
I know you're a motorcycle guy. I will say this too. And this has really scared the hell out of me a lot. It actually happened to me today. I was driving the interstate today. We're kind of getting bottlenecked. It's, I was down in Hampton Roads area, so I was near the tunnel. And they're just right down the middle of everybody comes this guy. And he comes blowing through 60 plus miles an hour when everybody's kind of stop and go. All you need is for somebody to not quite see what's happening and kind of try to make a lane change, and they're going to cut him off, and he's going to flip over the front end of a car.
Right.
And I actually saw a couple guys. I actually saw that once in Virginia Beach. I was at an indoor batting facility, and we came out to the highway on Lynn Haven Parkway. And I saw where a motorcycle had hit a car and totally knocked the back wheel off the car. And then I saw a bloody sheet, blood completely seeped into it looked like a bed sheet. And I looked at the kids who were around me that I was coaching in the indoor building. I was like, damn, that looks like about 60 yards. And this cop standing beside me is like, hey, you're pretty good. It's 175 feet, 3 inches or something. So we come to find out these guys had weaved all the way down Lynn Haven, and a guy naturally came out to turn right into Lynn Haven, didn't see him coming. He's lane changing, hits the front end of the car, throws the two over the car on the motorcycle. One comes down, fractures his skull. He's dead on impact. The other, they'd rushed to the hospital, thought he had little chance to live. So it's two guys on a motorcycle. I'm saying that scares the hell out of me too, because you know this. People are just rocketing back and forth between lanes, and you really don't know where they are until they're right up on you. And I try to be cognizant of motorcycles. I don't want to hit anybody. But, man, when you're doing crazy thing, going off the road, coming back, crossing in front of traffic, that's a real danger as well. And I've seen some people do some crazy speeds on motorcycles out of nowhere. Because, again, especially when you're kind of backed up traffic, when somebody comes popping up at a high rate of speed because they have a lane that you don't have, you don't see that coming. And that's highly dangerous.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So what we've talked about here is certainly the one aspect of the money grab. I'm with you. But I also think there's a huge unfairness as to the question of it's not mechanically how we generally think of a ticket, that it was handed to you. You know, it's your story against the cop. You're probably going to get it your day in court if you want to. Now someone's going to come to court. I mean, this is what's going to happen. And he's going, I'm Joey, photo expert. Joey, how do you know Charles was speeding? Because I got a photograph here. Have you ever seen Charles? I mean, if I was your defense, you ever seen Charles before? Yeah. You don't know who Charles is. You don't know if that's somebody with a Charles mask. I mean, there's a lot of things. You know what the judge is going to say? It's more shut up. I mean, I'm agreeing. Yeah, I'm not fine. Yeah, there you go. So it also says on the back of the paperwork, you want to come contest it? If you lose, it's another $76 for court cost. So here's the thing. A lot of people are going to look at that, and that has been the issue with the whole Sixth Amendment argument, the Confrontation Clause, and what you were saying about what was going on in San Diego. Now, do I think that there's some judges that say, screw this, and will dismiss? Do you remember when Virginia started doing that civil penalty for all of those different charges, including DUIs, and they were trying to raise money, and
Yes.
they eventually got overturned by the court? You remember that? I was in court one day. In a jurisdiction in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Hampton Roads, and back then you could get up to a $2,500 fine for a DUI. It's a class 1 misdemeanor. And then they tacked on like a $3,700 civil fine payable in 3 years. You remember that, right?
Yes.
When it came to that, the prosecutor said, and Your Honor, the civil pay goes, bullshit. I'm not doing it. I don't think it's constitutional. Next case. And he wouldn't even apply it. So there were judges that were making that declaration from the bench. I ain't doing this. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. And then I think eventually Supreme Court of Virginia or some appellate level overturned it and said it was a cash grab, and you can't give a civil penalty for all these type of criminal matters and or traffic matters. Bullshit. and they were trying to do a tax through another methods, what it amounts to. So they got
Of
overturned.
course.
And I think that's kind of what you have here too. Now they also have they have the argument it's for public safety, but it does sound like a money steal. Anything you want to say in closing? Please say something in closing. How about that?
They tax us enough, man. They don't need to do this. Yeah, just spend the money and pay another trooper to go out on the road and do what they're supposed to be doing. Stop having AI do somebody else's job.
Right.
That's all.
Very good. All right, Charles. Love you, brother. Appreciate everything. And we're going to address some other things as it relates to traffic and bad stories about what happens in courtrooms.
Yes.
Take care. Oh,
right,
subscribe, and give us some comments. Please give us comments about whether this has happened to any of you out there. Later,
yes. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, subscribe and hit your notification button to get an update when we post another episode. See you soon.